and welcome back to the channel, my friends. So today we're actually taking the STI out to go do a driving video. I know a lot of you guys want this video. I'm pumped to do this video. I've been driving the car around the past couple days, completely ecstatic the way that it is. So if anyone is new here, just to give you a quick rundown, it's a 2005 STI, FP Black, ID 1300s, fuel system, Type RA short block, built heads, 272 cams, the whole kit and caboodle with this car, and it is a blast to drive. Let me tell you, I have not gone on the full chooch tune yet, and I can't quite yet, just because the tires on this car are very inadequate for the amount of power that it's making. So tires are definitely something I need to snag. These are some like weird Douglas Performance. I've never heard of them before. They feel like crap. They might just be old, they might be worn, I don't know, but they're not very good tires. So what I'm thinking about doing is doing some like fender flares with a much wider tire on there just to like keep traction. But regardless, we're going out to take the car out today. We're not going on the full send tune of 457 wheel horsepower. We're going to be keeping it at about 425. It's plenty for what we're doing today. Once we get better tires on this car, we'll bump it up to 457, actually go play with the car a little bit. So let's hop in, let's go drive this thing. I got a GoPro on the back of it. I'll have a GoPro on my head. So I think I already said that. Let's just go drive it. I don't even know why I'm saying this anymore. Let's get in the car. All right, you guys, let's go play with this thing. Let's go enjoy ourselves a little bit here. Everything is nice and fresh. Everything's nice and smooth. Let's get us started. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby. Access port, come on. There we go. Yes. Yeah. So like I said, we're just staying on the 427 wheel or 425 wheel horsepower tune today. Once we get better tires on the car, we'll actually go out and beat on it a little bit. Car's already warmed up, good to go. So let's go hit the street. All right, so now that we're actually out on the main road, let me start by saying this car is stupid fun. Even at the level of 425 wheel horsepower, I think this is more than enough for what I need right now. The 457 scares me a little bit. Like, we haven't gone full send in this car yet, just because these tires, they either break traction or the car starts to pull hard one way because the tires just are not doing a good job at gripping. This ACT HDSS clutch, very awesome clutch, absolutely love it, but it is very chattery whenever you're like from a stop trying to go. Love the clutch, holding power awesome. It's the only complaint with it. Aside from that, feels great, works great, holds power exactly how we want it to. Turbo, stupid loud. That turbo over there, that FP Black, absolutely love that turbo. Stupid loud though, and I love, actually no, it's not even a complaint. I absolutely love the fact that it's a loud turbo. One thing that you guys might hear, the motor is a little noisy, but nothing wrong with it. I think it's the cams just under load. They're a little bit noisy. At idle, you can't hear anything. On cold starts, it sounds like the car might have a little bit of piston slap, but once the car warms up, it like completely goes away. I've been boosting around everywhere, like anywhere that's just pointless to get into boost, I just do it just to be able to hear this turbo. It sounds so good, and it's really cool to be able to drive this car in comparison to how it was on the 2017 STI, because if you remember on that car, that was a 2017 STI, FP Blue, E85, very similar modifications to this one, with the exception of we had no built heads on the 17 STI. We had a much smaller turbo, so the response time of the turbos is a little bit different. Oh, geez, it's getting like warm out. I got no AC. Crack these windows a little bit. So I've noticed the response time on this FP Black. Oh, see, not too chattery. The FP Black, it's very similar to the blue. Like if you look at the overlay dyno graph that I posted on the last video, you'll see that the boost or the target boost follows relatively similarly with the FP Blue and the FP Black. The FP Blue came on a little bit harder, a little bit sooner, but the FP Black holds a lot of power later in the RPM band, and that could have to do with it being with built heads and everything like that. Definitely having the cams, the valves and everything like that, having an increased duration for the intake and the exhaust definitely helps get more air into the system. But your boy's loving it. Your boy's absolutely loving it. I think this is, hello truck. I think this is actually the fastest car wheel horsepower wise and wheel torque wise that I've ever had. And it feels like plenty. This actually scares me for the other STI, the 2017. I was talking to Matt today, I was like, 1100 horsepower in that car is going to be terrifying. Oh God. Like when we were just getting on it earlier in this one, it was scary fast. Then again, it's probably because the tires in here don't actually help to keep traction. Going around any type of corners with anything more than like 40% throttle, absolutely terrifying. But the overall drivability of the car feels fantastic. Like, no complaints with it at all. Our ticking noise from the valves is gone, which is one thing that was bothering me prior whenever I was driving the car around when it did have the bent valves in it. It's just hearing that noise. Now that that noise is gone, it's incredible. And it pulls so well too. It pulls well, it feels good, it sounds good, no complaints. Now, one thing that I have noticed, and Chris brought this up when we were at the dyno a couple days ago, is that the car, and I've noticed this when driving it too, within a certain band of RPMs, the car gets a lot of ghost knock or phantom knock. If you don't know what that is, it's knock that's not actually happening. And that's attributed from the lightweight flywheel. So the lightweight flywheel is just giving us phantom knock, which is a little bit annoying. I think on the higher side of things, it's been hanging out like around -12. But yeah, the phantom knock, it got really annoying, and I stopped monitoring knock altogether. I replaced it with fuel economy because someone was curious like what the fuel economy of the car was. It's not great, I can tell you that much. Just city driving, I've noticed it's probably around 10 to 11 miles per gallon. Highway, it's sitting at about 25 whenever we're cruising. And then if I'm getting into boost, it's like 1.8 miles per gallon, like if I'm getting into boost hard. But the whole phantom knock thing, it just got annoying to have to deal with and have to listen to, so ended up just pulling it off the access port, not even monitoring it. Now I've just got damn fuel economy, coolant temps, intake temp, boost, and then air fuel ratio sensor, or air fuel sensor 1 ratio coming reading upstream off of the header. And then on our standard gauges, we just have downstream AFR and boost, which is nice to have. I do need to add an oil pressure gauge in here. Trying to find a solution for that, for like a single gauge pod or something like that, but not a whole lot of options I've come across so far. As for exhaust on this car, because I know some people were asking, Killer Bee headers, Grimspeed 38mm up pipe, FP black turbo if you want to count that in the exhaust, Grimspeed catted downpipe, just their standard off-the-shelf catted downpipe, and then a Greddy catback. And to be honest, it sounds pretty good. There's not a whole lot of drone. It has like a nice bassy rumble to it. If you guys remember the 17 STI, that one sounded very trumpety. It was very raspy, around like 2,800 to 3,500 RPM. This setup, 1,000 times better. I actually don't mind going on long road trips in this one with the sound. Like on the old car, it was awful. It was absolutely awful when you were in like that droney section of the exhaust. It just did not sound good. So with being on the 425 wheel horsepower tune right now, we're limited to 20 PSI, which is just fine. The 457 one is just 21 PSI, so it's just an extra pound of boost. We got a whole bunch of people in front of us. It's all right, I'll let them get ahead a little bit, do a small pull. Oh my God. That was just a third and a fourth, and that's terrifying. Terrifyingly fun. The turbo sounds insane. Like, it actually sounds nuts. I don't know how well it actually picks up on camera with the microphone attached to me, but ooh! It sounds so good. So good! Why are you like on my ass, Ford? Fourth gear's been grinding a little bit though, and I'm not a fan of that. That might need some love and attention later. It's only 3 PSI. This window seal right here is driving me nuts. It's like not sealing all the way. I need a new window seal. There's a little bit of like wind that comes in and like smacks me in the face. What up, Solara? What up, friend? God, the sun is so bright. Hello, sunshine, I see you. Let's go do some downtown driving. Let's go drive through downtown a little bit. Remember, when I bought this car, it was just supposed to be like a somewhat stock, fun STI to daily drive. And now it's the most powerful car I've owned. But no complaints. No complaints at all with that. Just driving around downtown. What's going on, everyone? I'ma take a sip of my drink. But the overall just drivability of this car feels absolutely incredible. I honestly do think this is the perfect amount of power for a daily driver because it's enough to scare the hell out of you. It's enough to easily overtake someone. It's enough to have fun with on the freeway, on back roads, wherever you are, and you have the ability to change maps. A little bit smoother of a clutch, but I'm still breaking this clutch in too, so I can't be overly judgmental of this ACT. But I think after the clutch is fully broken in, because we did not fully break in this clutch before we sent it to the dyno. Plus, I also, before we go to like the big tune map, or the full power map, the full chooch map, whatever you want to call it, I do think it's a good idea to break in the heads a little bit more, start wearing in the buckets, the valves, the springs, just to get a little bit more miles on them. Since buying this car, I've only put 480 miles on it, so it's not like we've had a ton of miles put on this thing. It's such a nice day in Washington. Once it like turns to spring and we start getting all this nice weather, it just feels so nice out. I could honestly just listen to that turbo all day long. Yes, I'm like very excited to put some flares on this car. That's something I've always wanted to do with the Blob Eye, is flare it. Boom. Big old wide booty, big old wide meats, big old tires. Love it. I love everything about this thing. Oh, yes. And you get used to driving with this clutch, too, after a little while. The one thing that I am incredibly happy about is the fluid damper that we have on there as our crankshaft pulley. The car feels, like it noticeably feels smoother throughout the RPM band, and pairing that fluid dampener up with a lightweight pulley, 10 out of 10, highly would suggest that. A lot of people ask me like, hey, what do you think of lightweight crank pulleys? I never suggest them to you guys. Removing any dampening that could be absorbing any of the shock, the vibrations, anything like that with the actual crank pulley versus sending it directly into the crank, definitely suggest you guys do. It puts a lot less wear on the crankshaft over time, so it's definitely a good reliability part. It is a little bit pricey at like $450, $500, but you guys will notice a huge difference using this thing. Fluid dampener did an awesome job with this. Incredibly happy with it. Makes the car feel it just makes it feel that much smoother. It's just another compliment on top of everything else that's already done to the engine. And we can just get into boost so much happier now. And the car spools up pretty quick too. There's legitimately no noticeable turbo lag with this car. With having a front mount intercooler, like I press on the gas, there's boost. Like gas, boost. Gas, boost. Honda, why are you dripping so much water out your exhaust, bro? It does feel incredibly nice, the amount of responsiveness that this turbo setup gives. Remember, we're only running, and like, it's not like we're running any like, okay, I guess we are. But 10 out of 10, I'd suggest this setup to anyone out there who wants it. And in the next video or an upcoming video, we're going to be doing a breakdown of all the parts that are on the car, total cost for everything, how much it would cost you guys to do this setup also. Because remember, this build got out of hand real quick with the amount of things that we needed to replace, the amount of aftermarket parts that we got. This car was built in like a month and a half, 2 months from a pretty much stock STI. I mean, it's still it's stock on the outside. And the group end transmission mount and engine mounts, I feel like are just enough for this car. They're not overly stiff where it's just causing a ton of vibration, but they're not soft where you're just like sacrificing all the performance. The group end mount, and they're affordable. I think they're like 50 bucks for the engine mounts. Are we alternating? What are we doing here? Are you going straight, buddy? Buddy. But yeah, the group end mounts definitely suggest. And we saved the blob eye. I am very curious what would have happened to this car if somebody else would have bought it. Like if anyone else out there would have bought it. Would they have just let it die? Would they have let it blow up? Because this car came a long way. It's not done yet. It still has a long way to go. The amount of smiles that I get from this car is unreal. It's legitimately unreal. I don't understand. 10 out of 10. If anyone's watching this right now and they've been contemplating getting a WRX, an STI, anything, either one of the cars, and you don't know what generation to get, like honestly, I highly suggest this older model. This is by far my favorite model. Like for some reason, I want to build this car more than I do the 17 STI right now for some reason. Don't know, it's just, I love this chassis. This is my favorite chassis Subaru has ever done. It feels good, it looks good, it's simple, it's fun. Everything about this chassis, just 10 out of 10 for me. Love the GD, love how simple it is. Love the responsiveness of everything, and the functionality too of just this chassis. I love it. But let's swing back to the house. I just wanted to get out, drive around a little bit today. I've got some other errands I got to run. We are going to be swinging up to the mountains like we used to be once we get some new tires on here, just because I legitimately do not trust these Douglas tires enough to give us the traction needed to be able to hold on to corners and pull through corners. Even going around some simple stuff like that, it was just a mess. And we didn't even get into full boost today. We only got up to 14 PSI. We are going to be doing some full, like I said, full send tunes once we actually, or full send pulls once we actually get some tires on this thing. But let's swing back to the house. Let's wrap this video up. Let's go run some more errands. Matt and I got to work on the neon today because we're trying to get the neon done so that way we can get, well, it's not done, but get it out of the garage so that way the V8 chassis can go back in. But see you guys back at the house. Hi, my friends. We are back in the garage. It is later. It is now dark outside. We had to run some errands. I ran up to Best Buy and I grabbed some speakers for the STI because the ones in there are blown out. So some of you guys were asking what's next for this car. There's definitely more coming. I do want to keep working on the blob eye. We don't even have the motor back for the other STI yet, so there's not terribly much I can do on that car except sort through more wiring, remove airbags, and strip that thing down a little bit more. And I don't think anyone really wants to watch that too much because it's not a lot of the exciting stuff. But we're focusing on the 05 a little bit longer because there's still more that I want to do. We're focusing on the interior right now, so I have a new steering wheel coming because a lot of you guys over the years, over the past like year, I've only been doing YouTube like a year. Over the past year, a lot of you guys have asked me to do like a steering wheel install. So that is coming to the channel. We are doing speakers in there. I'm getting it tinted. I'm not tinting it. There's a lot of things that I will DIY. Tint is not one of them. I cannot do tint. And then after that, we're gonna do a little bit of focus on the exterior too. So I mentioned that the tires on the car were trash, and they are. They're Douglas Performance. Never heard of them. Never used them. Don't like them. They don't have like any solid traction. Those tires are also old, so maybe I'm just a little bit biased on that one, but we're going all out. So I am not going to cut a single corner on this car. What I want to do and what I've always wanted to do is flare an 05 or 07 STI. We're doing it. So I'm going to order a set of Carlton flares next week for the car. The game plan is to use the wheels on the 17 STI, those Work Emotion D9Rs, the white ones. We're going to put those on the blob eye with a big meaty tire on them. I'm thinking like 265, 35, 18s or something along that line. It'll be perfect. It'll be perfect for the amount of power it makes. It'll be perfect for any weather that gets thrown at us, with the exception of like heavy snow, obviously. But crazy excited. There's a lot more exterior stuff that I'm gonna be doing to the 05 to get it where I want. But anyways, we'll do some more full driving, full pulls kind of stuff. I didn't go 100% throttle on that car today. I'm not going to for like the next week or so. I want to continue to break in the heads and the clutch a little bit more before we just go ham on that car. So I'm sorry if you didn't get all the full throttle pulls, but you guys got like an 80% throttle pull on the 425 wheel horsepower map today. Thing pulls hard. Absolutely love it. So anyways, if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple. Color of the day, we're gonna go with amber. Amber is the color of the day today. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up because there's a lot more coming on the 05 and the flat 6 for the STI. Like, remember, we already have the heads The heads for the EG33 are built, they're here. We just need to get that short block back. But anyways, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.